But what, I mean, I'm talking about, are you lacking the produce over there in Boston, or is it all right?
I haven't lived back there in 20 years, so.
Where do you guys live now?
I'm in Austin. I'm in London. So, London.
You just live in London, straight up, huh?
Straight up, right outside of
Welland
London.
Garden City.
How's the vegan food in London?
It's amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Getting better.
It's really good. It's getting better. Everywhere it's getting better.
Tesco has the best, though.
Yeah, the line of food that we launched in Tesco is pretty amazing.
So Tesco is a big supermarket over there.
It's the third largest retailer in the world, and they're the largest in the UK and Europe. Yeah.
And you're developing
So-
healthy recipes for them now.
So I was hired on as their plant-based innovation chef and developer of the Wicked Kitchen
What a
range.
gig.
Yeah, it's good, you know. It works. We're really moving the dial forward. How we
How's
like
the grass out there, though?
the grass? It's illegal. So there is none.
Uh-huh. Okay. Bloody shame.
I agree. Everybody needs to jump on that bandwagon.
What kind of vegan food are people liking in London right now?
Same as here.
Same
I mean,
shit?
yeah, everybody wants
Fresh, clean
We
food.
just want more options, I think. And what we try to do is bring it out of the hippie age and into the mainstream, and that's the mission, is really to drive it mainstream, because if it's easy, accessible, and affordable, it'll be really simple to switch
Mm-hmm.
habits.
What recipe in the book are you guys most proud of, you think?
A couple of them.
Yeah, me personally, the mushrooms. I'm a huge fan of the mushrooms scene. Like the maitake brisket in there is freaking off the hook.
Scallops in there, pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Dumplings.
It's
We have
really amazing.
corn dumplings.
I bet you the mushrooms
Really
in
good.
Portland are pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, that's what's nice about
Yeah.
Portland.
It's musty up there, isn't it?
It's really nice.
We actually went. Funny story. We were doing a photo shoot with Eva. Her book is back there. She's an amazing photographer. So we were doing a photo shoot, and it was pretty much out of season, right? It was like very early in the season.
Oh.
And so we had a full film crew with us. We had some photographers with us, and we're like, let's go foraging. And Derek and I are just fucking praying that we're gonna find a mushroom because it's pretty much out of season. And it was just misting, and we're just lugging all this shit through the forest, and came across this amazing grove of like 20, 25
That was
pounds
awesome.
of lobster mushrooms. Amazing. We've been looking all day, and
So that's what the photos are in the book.
Yeah.
The
So
lobster mushrooms.
Lobster.
And you guys have the lobster mushroom roll recipe.
We have the
right?
roll. I think we have the cheddar in there. I make a bisque. I used to be a lobsterman when I was.
So you're a
young.
big shroom head.
Yeah. I love the
he's a
mushrooms.
fun guy. Come on, you knew
That
that
was too easy,
wasn't
So you used to catch actual lobsters
I did
back home.
for a few years. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to help run a restaurant during the summer, and then I was a lobster fisherman for spring, fall, and one winter. So for 4 seasons.
I used to protest on the dock when he was coming in.
Vegan power, baby. Okay, good. Well, do you guys have any questions for these boys?
That's good.
Nothing.
Come on, guys.
Fantastic. Maybe you guys need some more beer.
When?
What's the last thing?
The last thing I cooked was in London. 'Cause I haven't been able to cook. Oh no, we cooked at your house.
Yeah. What did we cook?
I made steamed kale, right? Steamed first, and then saute it with chili peppers and garlic, and did like a garlic chili kale. And then also, what did I do? I did braised leeks with tomatoes and some kind of habanero paste that we have over here a little bit.
Is that
you can
habanero
try.
paste?
That's a
It's
habanero jam.
Tomato habanero jam with
Got a
some
nice zing to it.
with
Yeah.
some creme fraiche.
And then I did the painted potatoes from the book. Trying to remember. We've been working on this book for 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a
So when it
long
comes out now,
process.
it's like, wow, we did all that. So I have to remember what we did.
Yeah.
It's all.
Things shift over years
Yeah,
when
'cause
it
you
comes
keep
to
going and
recipes, you know
going.
what I mean?
Do you feel like you're all out of recipes?
No. We have a disease. We can't stop. We just keep going.
It's a good disease.
Yeah.
It's a very good disease.
I'm curious to know what your opinions are about it sounds like there are a lot of plant-based meats or like references to meat that are really about like the flavors of and pairing them with vegetables, but I want to know your opinion about like seitan and using tofu and like Impossible Burger and these kinds of like shifts in that kind of bone culture.
I think they all play a really important role. You know, if you look at some of the largest animal ag companies in the world right now, they're all investing in the plant protein space. You know, you got Tyson, you got Hormel, you got Maple Leaf, and PHW over in Europe. They're 4 of the largest. And they're all investing and they're seeing that they need to diversify their protein, and it's not sustainable just to focus on animals. So, and for those guys to actually recognize that, I mean, you know, something shifted. You know what I mean? So, I think that it plays a really important role in sort of the shift with food that's happening right now. You know, in general. You know, I think that people can make that argument of, okay, these monster companies are going to take over these other smaller plant-based companies and change sort of the ethos of them. But a lot of them, like Field Roast, which was just purchased by Maple Leaf, you know, they are very strict with their whole vegan ethos, and they had this whole contractual agreement with them that, you know, that they're going to continue to innovate in that space. And they're, you know, David Lee, who's a founder of that, has been diehard vegan. So I think it's really exciting, this space. I mean, if you look at, if you're comparing it at all to where the dairy category has gone, I mean, non-dairy is about 12% of the market share of the dairy category right now, which is insane. And plant protein is growing really, really quickly. So I think there's a place for that for sure.
We take the position of mushrooms being an all-natural solution. So we love the Impossible Burger, Beyond Burger. All the products fit somewhere in there if we want convenience. But we also see the gap in that marketplace where there's no all-natural solutions outside of seitan, which is not gluten-free. And I'm not a big fan of seitan myself because I don't
Except
eat
the
gluten.
Reuben in the book is fucking
Yeah, well, the
awesome.
Reuben. I mean, he makes really good seitan, you know. But tofu is pretty awesome. But what's the other solution? Mushrooms. And it's all natural. You can't argue with it. You can't say, oh, it's processed, I won't eat it. Oh, it's soy. It's a freaking plant, and it's amazing.
Jackfruit too. We have some in there. Like
They don't love jackfruit.
Jackfruit.
I'm going for mushrooms over jackfruit.
The banana blossoms in the book, I would say,
Yeah,
are
true.
one of the best too. So,
True.
but
Mushrooms get a little slimy sometimes. What do we do about that?
Well, you cook them
you
right.
cook them wrong.
Cooking them wrong?
Yeah.
That's how they're slimy. You gotta press them.
Yeah, you guys do
have
the
that-
whole maitake and you press it with the
We
cast
do.
iron
I
on
press
top.
everything. I've started press every kind of vegetable, everything. It just evenly sears and cooks. It's freaking amazing technique.
So there's the chicken under a brick and you just put everything under a brick.
Everything. Everything goes under the brick.
That's good. That's good. That's the next book. Everything under a brick.
Squish everything. It cooks better.
It doesn't actually squish it though. With the mushroom, it actually helps the texture. It builds the fibers and makes this marbleization.
It's just
kinda
good
like-
science. I mean, the
it's
mushroom
good.
has so many nooks and crannies.
I
You
think
need the
Lion's
press.
Mane is a perfect example of that.
Lion's
right?
mane is
I mean,
amazing. This big puff ball, and then it goes down, and it's like a filet mignon after
Yeah,
it's done.
and you know, if you're gonna cook it fresh without pressing it, it's a little bitter. You know what I mean? A little spongy, a little bitter. But you get rid of that sponginess when you're pressing it. So,
And it's all about the seasonings.
you know,
Okay. Mushroom is an amazing source of umami in the natural world.
Yeah, and there's a lot of varieties out there. So in my job over in Europe, I work with growers, and I've been to Korea now and China, and working with growers and how they can really maximize and add value to actual growing these different mushrooms that we don't see in stores a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be coming. The next couple of years, we'll see a huge movement.
Yeah, hopefully those real daddy mushrooms will be cheaper.
Yeah, that's the
'Cause
thing. It's
because
supply and demand, though.
The really good ones are expensive, man.
Well, you know, it's really fucked up that we're killing animals, and it's super cheap. It's cheaper than anything.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
you
Sorry.
can get a whole chicken.
Don't apologize. Let it out, babe.
Sorry, I got
Get a whole chicken less than a
Like it.
mushroom.
It's not right.
You had mentioned that you were in was it a Buddhist monastery in upstate New York?
Tibetan, yep.
Were you cooking at that time, or were you just up there?
You know what? In the beginning, when I first moved there, I wasn't doing anything but trying to be quiet. For I wrote about it in the book. I don't want to talk about it right now, but we can. And then I started cooking again. And what happened to me was, I realized that by cooking for other people, and I realized that the diet then, to me, before that, I was all ego and wanted to just cook it for myself and be successful and be the best chef I could possibly be. So that's how I was trained myself. With the monastery, what that taught me was a lot more about compassion and thinking about other people and how they felt and animals and like all that stuff. So when I started cooking there, I had that mindset and I just wanted to help people. And by doing that, it kind of, I joke about them tricking me because they tricked me to help to grow and learn and be more compassionate myself by helping other people.
So did you do a lot of, or you were eating a lot of temple cuisine? Does that incorporate into your life or into?
That does
sort of
incorporate into the
profile
book,
in
yep. Yep, it incorporates, but it's also bringing it mainstream because some people want flavor. and they need something to entice them, and they need to have sexy and exciting. So that's what we try to offer.
Yeah, a lot of temple cuisine is definitely low fat, low sodium, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, but it's again, it's not fully mainstream palate. You know.
It's not wicked enough.
Right.
Any other questions, guys?
Where can you get lion's mane around?
Lion's
I've
mane?
never seen it in person.
You can
besides
find
the
some
pills.
at Asian markets. A lot of the, I mean, there are small growers around here. If you go to farmers markets, I just hit up all the growers. Like, I'm a nut, and I'll go find them.
Yeah.
If you want something bad enough,
Yeah.
you just find it.
Yeah.
You know, or you order it online. In Portland, they had, like, the farmers market had lion's mane, and
Oh,
they had
wow.
everything right in front of me, so I didn't realize it wasn't.
Yeah.
And a lot of these you can cultivate too. So there's a guy I'm in Austin. We don't get many wild mushrooms, and there was a guy that just started selling lion's mane at the farmers market, $10 a pound. And,
Wow.
Yeah.
which is amazing.
That's cheap,
you know.
huh?
He's just cultivating himself, you know, and he's growing his operation. So
Wow.
it's all about supply and demand.
I tried to grow mushrooms in my closet one time. Didn't work.
You got arrested.
Cultivate.
So I know you guys got all the flavors at the house, but when you're in LA, what spots are you guys hitting up? Anything? Any
Crossroads.
crossroads?
You know, we're going to our buddy Tal, man. He's
Nice.
like, I love that place. It's
A rocker.
Yeah, we'll go to all the places that you guys know. We're not from here, so
Yeah.
we try to hit up all the
Oh yeah.
all the spots.
Which Whole Foods do you like the most in LA?
Sepulveda. What do you? Yeah, that Whole Foods is pretty amazing because it's the one. It's right outside the airport. It's the one I would always hit before going back to the
Interesting.
airport.
Sepulveda.
Sepulveda.
Sepulveda. No, you did a good job. I've never been to that one.
No, no, it's a
Now
nice
you
store,
gotta go.
man. They're all nice. They all have good qualities about them.
You're preaching to the choir.
You go. Is there much left on the cutting room floor? There's things that maybe
Yes.
like say or
There was a
maybe,
lot of
maybe
recipes.
technology's caught up now. They're like shit, I could have put it in there in hindsight. Or anything like that.
I just think it's timeless. What we're going to be able to share, it will be timeless. And there's a lot cut from the book. Like this book was half the size of what it could have been.
Yeah.
Except, you know, I guess nowadays people don't want big
Is this
books.
evergreen content you got here?
I don't know what that means.
We'd like to look at it. No, I
It,
think
it means it's
one of those-
timeless.
Yeah, yeah.
I think one of the challenges that a lot of chefs have with writing cookbooks is, you know, your style of food evolves with cultural influence and travels and, you know, experiences and things like that. So, you know, one thing about this book is they're just, you know, all of our favorite recipes that we've been making over the years. So,
And like Ken said in the beginning, it's all based on technique, so it's not necessarily about the only recipe, where a lot of cookbooks are just recipes and you have to follow them. We encourage you to change it up.
It's like the springboard. To,
Switch it up, yeah. Because if you get that pressing technique and you can do these mushrooms
Wing it.
like that,
yeah.
man, you can add
It's all
anything to
about
that.
Teach a man to press a mushroom.
Exactly. And they can eat for life.
That's good.
Could you talk about, you mentioned like pricing and availability. Do you
Yes.
think that's essential to, you know, if we jump 10 to 15 years from now, what does a vegan look like? Like,
Well,
are we, it's like on a Saturday night, do we want to go get Japanese, Italian, or vegan? Is it,
yeah,
is that,
I think it'll all be in there. But right now, if you can go buy a chicken for less than $2, or however much it is these days, it's ridiculous if you can't buy mushrooms for that cheap. It's freaking stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we're seeing.
And the mushrooms are dirty when you get them.
Yeah, you could do a lot of cleaning.
You think chicken meat's clean? I mean, I've been to enough factories and seen what happens and how they do it.
It is crazy how
It's
cheap a
freaking
chicken
nuts,
is.
man.
Pretty gross.
20,000 birds go in alive, they come out dead in 2 hours in a package. It's fucking gone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fucking gross.
Keep talking, I'm gonna go back to being vegan.
Having relationships with these huge suppliers, like in the UK and here, like do you see them pushing to change policy, or do you feel like there's a role
I
that
see
they
them
play?
jumping on the bandwagon, and for us, any reason to not eat animals works, whether it's environmental, whether it's health, whether it's ethical. Any
We just
freaking reason
want
is a good reason.
Yeah.
You're still on the team.
We just want
Yeah, there's no downside to eating more plants.
Yeah.
None. You know, you might go to the bathroom more.
Yeah. Yeah. Might be a little loaded. Might be a
It
little
might
loaded
save
for-
somebody from constipation, but that's
Yeah.
not a downside.
But like you're saying, like the obstacles are very artificial. Like
They're very
there's
artificial.
no reason why chicken should be $2.
No, because they're subsidized, and we want to switch it. So I have a theory that if we can switch people who are growing chickens and are doing these huge factory farms, let's transition them to grow mushrooms. That's my mission. That's one I'm doing in the UK.
Yeah, one of the other things we got going on is we're launching a plant-based sort of seafood line called Good Catch Foods, which is launching at the end of this year also. So, so if you look at 95% of the species on the planet are consumed as seafood, right? And all of these alternatives is focused on land animals, really. So,
We're gonna do a whole branzino.
Good. You gotta
no,
try
but we're
to
launching at the end of this year.
I would love to.
With some shelf-stable product. We got tuna in water, tuna in oil, and then we have some fish burgers, crab cakes, and things like that. So we've just sealed up our Series A funding, and we're setting up our manufacturing currently. It's really exciting. Fitting a complete.
Congratulations.
I tasted the expo. I never even liked tuna, but I'm gonna be lining up for that.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting time. So it's about I was talking to somebody earlier about I think big push for us in Wicked Healthy is just high impact projects. Is what's going to make the most impact and what's going to help shift things, a little bit, and shake up the industry, so.
It's all industry focused, where a lot of people are like the home focused. They just want to show you. We want to show the industry because we've been in the corporate and on our own. We need to show them how to do it.
Oh man. Hell yeah.
I heard a lot of the dairy farmers are buying almond crops now.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
And they're all pissing and moaning and changing, like, you can't call it milk.
Oh, right.
You can't call this vegan thing a sausage or whatnot. And that's all just bullshit.
What's your favorite nut milk of all time?
I don't even think it's a nut milk anymore. It's oat milk. It's
Oat milk
freaking
is
amazing coming out.
Holy.
I
Yeah.
knew you were gonna say that. Any other questions, guys? We good?
I have a question. When you get, argumentative, like naysayers saying, veganism is dumb or we're carnivores or whatever, like what's the most convincing, I don't know if you want to convince, you try to convince people or not, but like what's the most effective response? Like is it the animal welfare? Is it greenhouse gases?
Pulling out the book.
Is it like money? Like
It's
I
up,
can read the book.
it just comes, it's up to somebody else. It's up to people to decide, because if it's health, some people are vegan for health.
Yeah.
Right.
They just don't eat animals for health. I don't want to, it's not health for me. It's just a byproduct. Wow, you get healthier if you don't eat animals. For me, it's the compassionate part. And the world could use a hell of a lot more compassion right now.
And if you look at the whole diseases of affluence, they call it, the 5 top, killers, they're basically directly linked to diet, and animal consumption, red meat, dairy, and all that. So I like to go in that direction with the argument. So I tend not to argue, with it, because I think that, like I said when we started chatting, I think people are looking for that excuse not to change, and so if they immediately think of what they can't have. So if you just share, from a different positive sort of take on it, just show them what they can have, and it just cracks me up, especially chefs that are so close to the idea of eating or cooking more plants. I mean, it's fucking get on the train, it's already left, I mean, that's the way I say it. So.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think getting flavors in people's mouths on their palate is a good way, because
I just gotta try it.
most
I
people
mean,
like that was good.
You're not gonna appeal to the masses with a green soup and a sprout salad, but a mushroom brisket or a friggin' seitan Reuben or some beautiful dumplings or something like that that's packed with flavor, they're gonna listen. If they think it's delicious, they're gonna listen. So.
Even that person that eats the whole plate and you tell them it's vegan, I'm like, oh, I didn't really like it, and they stop eating it, but in their heads they know that seed's planted that it is delicious.
Yeah, the one thing I did at Whole Foods when I was catering, I catered all the leadership meetings, so over 61 events for all the leadership in different hotels. So I had to train hotel staff every single time. And every single time was a brand new experience. And they hated me in the beginning, because who's this guy coming in my kitchen? It didn't matter whether I was vegan or not. Nobody wants you in their kitchen. So I had to go through that all those times, and then to cook. Well, what I did was flip the paradigm where it's all meat and one vegan option, and mostly that was either the vegetable of the day, you had to have a request not to have butter on it, or a salad. So what I did was flip the whole thing, did 90% vegan, didn't tell them, and then had 2 different meat options that you could add to it if you want, but everything else was fine.
Yeah, it's almost that security blanket of a leader seeing like, oh, there is something I can eat here, even though they're gonna fill their plate anyways, So.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for talking to us.
We will just step out.